Brian, stop the tape.
Okay, Mike. Oh, wait. Rewind that scene, please.
Rewind that scene.
Rewind that scene.
Rewind it.
Rewind that scene. Rewind that scene.
I'm Mike Rizzo,
And I'm Brian Bonds.
and this is the Rewind That Scene podcast, baby, where we go back in time and we rewind and rewatch all of our favorite movies growing up as kids. And, we dissect it, we talk about it, we, analyze it, we bring on crew members, actors, directors, writers, people who do pottery, all of the above. Right, Bon?
You're right. And on today's episode, we're talking about a 2001 American comedy film written by Louis C.K., adapted from a comedy sketch from the Chris Rock Show. Mira, it's called Pootie Tang.
Yeah, Lance Crouther. Pootie Tang, the one and only. We were obsessed with this guy growing up. I think, again, I probably watched it at Brian's mother's house, Surma Strand. And this movie, I mean, come on, Louis C.K., Jennifer Coolidge, J.B. Smoove, all became big talent now. But I mean, this movie resonated because it's like, crime fighting against corporate America, the capoeira. Like it has all of the above to make it beautiful. It's absurd. It's funny. Chris Rock, everything about it. We latched onto it. The language, the one-liners, right, Bon?
That's true. It's got a
So
cult
good.
following.
I mean, we've always loved Louis C.K. I mean, like, God damn it, this movie was so good. How many times do we quote that scene when they're all outside and the guy repeats his line? He's like, it's hot today. And he goes, it's hot too. I love his ponytail.
It's the best.
I want to know how he dodged the bullets, how he utilized that belt so elegantly.
Let's bring him
I
on.
think we should bring him on. Pootie.
The history of it is, or the background is, so we're all on the Chris Rock Show. Writers, Louis, myself, Wanda Sykes, other people. And Chris is a guy who is like, just like him being in Fargo or, or being in Saw. Chris,
exactly.
Chris is the type of person who you think he might not go for something, but he absolutely is into it. So Louis walks into my office and he says, "Hey man, read this." And I read it. And I said, I get it. I like this. I like absurd. I know how to play it, And he's like, yeah. And I said, Chris will never go for this. but okay, man. So he pitched it. Chris went for it. And Louis would always pitch, like everybody else would type their stuff. Louis back then had some tech. He would always pitch off of like some little technical thing he had. And the next thing is this. I was like, wait, when you get this stuff, man? What's like futuristic stuff. Why do I?
His gadgets.
And Chris went for it. The basic sketch was me coming out. I was like some cool dude. And I would come out on stage and then Chris would interview me. We did it in a rehearsal and then HBO was like, don't do that. Don't ever do that.
Of course.
So for like a few weeks, it would always be in like the lineup. Like we would have on a Thursday, we would shoot a bunch of, the show and it would be overloaded with like sketches and stuff that, roll-ins that we shot. And then because we had roll-ins, Chris's stand-up interviews, and then we would have a live interview. So, we would have a fake live interview. Somebody would play a character and come on. So I was always, that Pootie Tang sketch was always kind of like sitting there on a Thursday, we'd do it, and it never got in. For some reason, it needed to get in. I guess we needed time or something. So they said, okay, so now when I say it on Thursday, it's set up for me to do it, but I never actually went out in front of the audience. I was just in the back, a nervous wreck. So they said, okay, we're doing it today. So I go out, they say, ladies and gentlemen, he gets to that point, the greatest guy in the world, Pootie Tang. So I come out, crazy walk, sit down, he interviewed. The interview is kind of the audience like, and then it builds and it gets to a point and then it gets really funny and then they laugh and then it's like, I don't understand what Chris said and they go crazy. And then, I walk off and say, okay, fine. They say, okay, we're doing it on Friday. But then we do it on Friday because the Thursday show is a practice show. Did it again. It worked. I'm like, okay, that's it. That's over. So Chris had come off of SNL. And SNL was big on repeating sketches. A character do it forever. Chris was like, we won't be doing that on this show. One and done. because Chris is a cool dude to know. We're hanging out, me and him and a couple other people are going to a Prince concert in New Jersey.
Oh yeah.
So we're all in the car together, and on the radio, Hot 97 says, this is going to be a shout out to my main man, Pootie Tang. And me and Chris go, what? What the hell was that?
What?
So then, I guess HBO, this was back in the day when you would get, people would, I guess, call up the network, or they were, I don't know, it's before like the, social media is today. Because
Yeah.
talking like 98 or 97 or something.
Holy crap.
But they get, I guess, enough people contacted HBO going, we want to see more of that sketch, that guy. So then HBO comes in and they say to Chris, could you give us, because they didn't want it on and on in the first place, they said, could you give us another one of those Pootie Tang things? And Chris was like, all right.
Great.
And then he went to Louis, and Louis was also kind of like, I don't really, all right, fine. But we did about 5 of them, maybe 5 or 6 of them total over the course of 2 or 3 years on the show. I was every year. And they got more elaborate. Like there's one where I'm a musician, and there's one where I'm an actor, and there's one where I go and give I go to like a charity thing and give all these kids stuff. And then there was one that was really long. It was almost like a short film. It was like the last one we did, and it had Suzanne Summers in it, and it had the woman that played Iron Man's
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah.
So I'm literally in a sketch that has Suzanne Summers and Gwyneth Paltrow as my exes. And then we did like a thing with Conan O'Brien. This is all like on the Chris Rock show.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And when they go, somebody, I wasn't part of the discussion, said, make a movie let's do a movie. So the idea for the movie happened higher than me. But then they went, okay, let's do it, but let's have Chris play Pootie Tang. Because they were like, yeah, nobody knows Lance. and Louis and Chris were like, it can't be Lance has to play it.
That's great.
But Chris is like, but I'll tell you what, I'll be like 4 people, 3, I'll play extra characters in the movie. And so, which he did, he played like 3 or 4 people.
I know, that's great.
So that's what that's basically how we got to the movie level. And also, there's also a parallel track because at the very same time, because I have a writing partner named Ali Leroy, who's the co-creator of Everybody Hates Chris, and me and him, Chris wanted to do a movie about, he loved Heaven Can Wait. Chris's theory is you just take dramas and add jokes.
Wow.
Even though Heaven Can Wait is actually a comedy, but anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he wanted to do a version of it, but the idea he had, which was a great idea, is because we always talked about how when you do stand-up, when you do comedy in your stand-up, people will react to you based on how you appear. So like if you're an overweight person and got a crazy voice, it's easier to be funny because the audience accepts that. But like if you're like a handsome guy or a buff guy, with muscles, then they kind of, step back and like they're not as willing to laugh at you initially. And then you have to win them over.
Right.
And then thinking about that, we ended up, what it would be funny if you were a white guy doing in a black guy's spot. So that was the idea he had. And we ended up, that is the basis of kind of the story, this movie we did, Down to Earth. Only reason I bring it up is both of these movies were set at Paramount. And we had already had the Down to Earth movie in production. It was already off and running. We had written a script, and Louis is one of the writers on it, but later, like me and Ali write it, the first draft, and then it goes through a bunch of drafts, and then eventually all 4 of us, me, Ali, Louis, Chris, all do like a final pass or whatever. So now we had that movie, and then Pootie Tang comes in, and so now we're like, one movie's shot, and the other one is being shot. So, and I always bring this up because whichever movie is Paramount is happy with, the other one they're mad about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
that's
why I have to tie it together as an experience, because at some point they're mad at the dailies or whatever on the other movie, but we're shooting Pootie Tang. So Pootie Tang's looking great, but this crap over here. And then
I
when they
see.
get mad at like Louis when we're shooting Pootie Tang, they're like, you jerk, and we love this other movie over here. So how are we going? So only one of these movies can do well in my.
Right. Brian and I have so many favorite scenes, specific scenes that we kind of want to ask you about too. But like,
Sure.
I mean, like the choreography, like what was it like just even just getting into this, like with the belts, like the reversing and like the fighting all these guys and like, was that like a crazy, was that like a crazy thing for you? Like the choreography and deflecting the bullets and your hair, your beautiful ponytail going everywhere?
I just explained it like, again, my background before I even got into, Chris's show, before I used to be in a comedy sketch group called Mary Wong, depending on what year, you say, ladies and gentlemen, Mary Wong, and you think an Asian woman will walk out and
Totally.
5 black guys would walk out. So it was like, it was like Python or, Pink Floyd or whatever. It was that kind of joke. And it was great.
Awesome.
We did absurdist sketches. We were a black comedy group, but we did absurdity. That was our bread and butter. We're out of Chicago. So I was always used to performing. And then I was also stand-up comic for years. And that's how me and Chris, I knew Chris from that era and Adam and all these people. Just as a performer, I kind of already understood how to, play this role. Just basically it's so wacky, never play it.
Yeah.
You always go against it and play straight.
Yeah.
So that's just like the DNA of how I'm doing it. And then Louis has just got this incredible, amazing mind.
Absolutely.
He had Louis had all kind of thoughts going on that he wanted to, because he had done some short films and some small films. And like, this was kind of like his baby. Like he was like, this is going to launch me. And so he had a lot of interesting ideas, and he had this idea about that. I wish I could say the word correctly, but that capoeira, I think it's called capoeira.
Oh, like the type of fighting style?
Like fighting style, which
yeah.
So he thought this is like the perfect, because the idea is like this guy's like he's almost a superhero in a way, but he's kind of like this amalgam of everything, but just the coolest guy, can sing, dance, and so, I'm trying to think of what.
I love how it's such an attack.
I might have been close.
Yeah.
So where you're just like, everything you can possibly do, he's just, or maybe Flint, like somebody, but just that thing, right? And so he had to be able to fight, and Louis wanted a fighting style that wasn't typical.
Yeah.
So I actually worked with 2 people. First, with a guy who was good at the capoeira, like an actual.
Oh wow.
Artist. He sort of kind of, gave me the choreography for fight scenes, but a lot of it was just do these moves and learn this stuff. And then the belt was a whole other thing. I forgot where, that's totally Louis. And
you
got to do this belt thing. And I remember being in the park in Manhattan, and I just remember being there for 3 hours with the stunt guy.
That's
practicing that belt thing. And I must have
good
in the face.
Oh,
about 90,000 times.
I believe it.
But eventually, it's one of those things when you do it and you keep doing it, and I was like, oh God, here we go again. And then it's like, then it just became like second nature.
One thing that Brian and I were like, the idea of when you're fighting Dirty D and how you guys just stop animate closer and closer and closer. Like that whole thing was mind blowing when we saw that.
So that's all Louis, and that's all in editing and stuff. Louis had a ton. In fact, I don't want to. He had another movie, a short film he'd done, and he did that exact thing.
Oh,
there's a movie that exists someplace where he's got 2 characters that come closer.
It's so good.
Opposite sides. So he wanted to get that into this movie because
so cool.
He thought the movie would do well. But Louis had even more interesting ideas. He wanted to shoot it where there was almost no close-ups, or certain scenes there weren't. Where you expect a close-up, there wouldn't be one. So he would shoot a scene with the villains, and they have like the boardroom scene, And anytime anybody talked, they would be far away, and the camera would be like right here with the guy listening. And then when they reversed, it would be the so he had a bunch of ideas that were just out there.
Oh my God.
So good. I mean, star-studded cast among those titans. Missy Elliott. I mean, that's amazing.
Oh yeah, and Jennifer Coolidge. Oh my, the poison scene.
I love her. It's super fun to work. You know who else is in it? The woman who stars in The Good Place. Kristen
Bell.
Bell, yes.
But she's so funny on IMDb. She's all the way down. It's so funny.
It's her first movie.
Oh, okay. Obviously, this is that makes sense.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like,
2001. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Like I saw some place.
A lot of talented people.
Like, Louis is like, we got this young actor, and she's got this, and it's the craziest thing with me and JB too. It's like at the end of the movie where I'm just coming in. I think she plays the daughter of the recording studio, whatever the producer produced the song.
Oh yes, with the stare down scene.
And I want to mesmerize her.
Yes. I didn't realize that was her.
Baby's like they're just like in my ear, like talking. Then at some point, I just smacked the hell out of JB.
Yeah, that's also in the credits too. At the end credits, they show all the behind the scenes.
Yeah, but that it's in the credits, but like that should have been in the movie. And then me and Jennifer Coolidge did a whole scene that they cut out where we're in Washington Square Park in the fountain. There's a whole like sort of romantic scene, but we literally get in the fountain and the water's on us, and then we're underwater and we're drowning. And it's like I remember going, are they calling cut? Because I've been underwater with Jennifer because she's like a weirdly violently sexual. So she's drowning me and I'm underwater going, I don't cut yet. So I'm really drowning.
I love the way she rams you with the shopping cart, man. It's so intense in the fucking supermarket.
She has like intense like sexual tension, but then they shoot this and then they cut it out the movie. So I almost drowned for no reason. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Imagine if Coolidge didn't kill you.
It's so funny because like we know her as like Stifler's mom from American Pie, and like we actually loved her in Pootie Tang. So to see her now in White Lotus, we're like, holy shit! I mean, she's always been pretty famous, but like,
and she did that episode of Seinfeld where she's the masseuse.
That's right.
Right.
Jerry keeps going, massage. Look, if you watch that and you go, because she's just been hilarious forever, but she's nothing in that.
Yeah.
Like she is later on where she's got that kind of crazy energy.
I was gonna say it's amazing music, like industry movie comedy too. I love that.
Well, because it kind of like pokes on all of that. Like it kind of like has like the undertones of like kind of poking fun and like the corporate America thing. Like everything has like all these elements that like people could latch onto.
People like heroes, and it's like it's a
great
movie. It's funny because there's people that say, well, why haven't you done another one? Or where are you? Why don't you act and perform more? And it's one answer to that is, well, I like writing more, and I've been a writer, and that is just an area that I just feel very confident in. I see a lot of stuff where people veer away from like the hero, as a true hero. There's a dark side, or somehow it's more realistic, apparently, for the hero to kind of fail at the end, or something that undoes it. You try to be cool and kind of have like a surprise ending with a hero. I think people just like it when the hero struggles and wins, and there's something just primal about that. And even with this character, it doesn't matter how goofy it is. He triumphs, and it's all surface level. So, the corporation's terrible, and
right.
It's all obviously goofy. But it's like, but there is something you feel good about it because the good person wins. And I just say it as a writer because a lot of times when you're a writer, you go, maybe we should, throw mud on the hero. People like the endings where they really do like people to struggle and win, not struggle and then slightly fail or whatever. And I think people love those characters longer over time.
Yeah. What are, some of your favorite memories, bonds that you connected with, special friendships that happen on set?
JB and I knew him before a little bit, not a lot. And then we did that movie. And in that period, we got really, really close. And then we wrote a movie, which we sold to Adam Sandler's company, and it never got made. But we're gonna probably try to make that movie again. Like
Yes.
we're writing that movie, we're rewriting that movie as I speak. So,
Oh, nice.
well, I was a big fan of Robert Vaughn because he was the man from Uncle. For me, he was a hero of mine. So I just was happy to do anything near him.
That's so cool.
I'm happy because from Rock's show, I just happen to be around a lot of different types of comedians. And so, Wanda's one version of comedy, Chris is one, Louis is one. It was just fun to be around that variety. And I don't think people get to work with. And there are other people who are on the show who just their styles, and some people they've gone on and done other things that you would know them because their work's really great. And that's what I loved about Chris is he was so welcoming to these different styles of comedy. So Louis
Right.
I didn't even realize how much Louis wanted to be in front of the camera
Yeah.
until he had his shows. I was like, wow, man,
Yeah.
and you're great at it. I because he's a good director. He's a good idea guy. I love being directed by him. I thought he was on point. I thought he
Right.
should have great career as a director, along with, say, being a comedian and an actor.
Do you look at Pi the same way ever since that Pi sequence when she throws you to the glass? That blonde chick?
Think about that. No, I always think of it as how many times I had to fall through a damn window back.
Yeah.
I had no problem with any, and I did most of the stuff, including riding in a car, or going through a car wash.
Yeah, like hanging on the side. I love
did
that.
almost every stunt, and the one that I could not, all I could do is fall backwards through this window with this woman. I never felt comfortable. Always like, God, I can't get this.
It's because she attacked you, man. She loves
So
you.
my thing, I kind of like. It's not my favorite thing that I shot.
Okay.
But not for no other reason than that it had to do with this falling through this damn window.
Yeah. It sounds terrifying.
Man, no, it just bothered. I'm like, I want to say, hey, it's an action. Oh, we're gonna have an action sequence. When we get knocked through the window. Hell yeah, let's go. And I would never look right. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I get knocked through a window easy? I always feel bad about because I'm terrible with names, but that actress, what I do remember about her specifically is she was reading Harry Potter. I think.
Oh,
Unless
really?
I'm wrong.
That's
She may have been the
interesting.
first person that I knew of who ever read Harry Potter.
Wow.
I think that is Harry Potter. I think. I don't know how. I could be wrong. I was like, okay, and I was like, ain't that a kid's book? She was like,
Yeah. What the fuck?
Harry Potter.
What the?
Nobody's gonna read that.
It blew up.
So much for my vision of the future.
What would you say for young aspiring? I see a lot of these Gen Z types coming in, right? I'm
I
40.
have a daughter, 21. So
She might be Gen Z.
yeah, so I have 21, 19, 18, 13. So
Oh, wow.
yes, so I notice I'm familiar. I don't know it, but
Yeah.
so what do I think? I think about my kids are like fantastic. I think they, get out there and kick ass, man.
Yeah.
So I've met people who are 25 and 27, that age range, who I go, you got to go for it, man. You got to work them hours. You got to want to be at the office. And I've met people same age range who are like, wow, woo, you're amazing. So I think that's always the case in general. And as far as advice, I would say the same thing I said years ago to anybody who would ask me a question like that is, if anybody can talk you out of doing it, you shouldn't be doing it. And that,
Yeah.
if they can talk you out of it, then you should be, no matter how hard you work, you should figure somebody else is working harder, up later. So, you have to keep that in mind. And then you got to just say, hey, and then accept that show business has a lot of levels, and it's a business like anything else, and it is a business, and you can have a career, and your career could be one where when you walk down the street, everybody knows who you are, or you could be just a guy that's been working in and out of a van from at the local news station, but you've been editing or doing sound or whatever, and you have a nice home and blah blah blah.
Yes.
That show business everything between that, and you have to just go, I want to be in it someplace. And then just keep digging and keep digging it. And I've seen people start and they go in their head, they only want to be in one place. And if they don't see themselves there, they exit.
Yeah.
So it's really good at weeding out people who aren't into
Right.
it. So even when my kids will say, hey, don't get in this crap because I was involved. If you want to do it, don't base on it. Don't blame me. It's my
That's great. Maybe you could talk about what you're working on now.
let's see. The Upshaws, which is a sitcom on Netflix. It's been on for 5 seasons. It has Mike Epps and Wanda Sykes and Kim Fields. So it's a great cast. And this is our 5th season and last season. But it's been like, I think the top sitcom or whatever on Netflix for years. It's just, so that's and I don't appear in it. I just write for it. And then I also did History of the World Part 2 with Mel Brooks. So that's on.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually do appear in that.
Yes.
Yeah, JB's in it too.
Nice.
So
Love that guy.
That was from a couple of years ago, but it's still on Hulu. So I think the very first episode, I'm in it playing like Shakespeare, like a Shakespearean writer
Nice.
at
Yeah.
a round table.
Thank you so much, man. This is
It's a pleasure
amazing.
to meet you.
Yes.
And I'll just say this when I'm out, but I'm very appreciative that people like that movie and fans, man. It's
Thank you.
very makes me very happy that
We probably watched it together, like at least 50 times.
That's incredible. It's an
Sorry.
amazing movie.
No, I think we're obsessed. We're obsessed.
Oh,
with
the
it.
acting is top notch.
Yeah, it's good. It's good
Thank you,
stuff.
man. I appreciate that.
Oh, Lance rocked us. Thank you so much, Lance. And I love that. I love that advice to writers and people trying to get into the business. You and I always talk about this. It's not for the faint of heart, right? If that's the right way to say it. Like it's a very cutthroat industry. I work in advertising, editing, and people don't really last too long. You have to, I think, you want to really want to be in that industry, and same with film. And then I can't imagine being in a writer's room, right, Bonds? Like you got to want to put in the time. You want to do good work and, make a name for yourself. So it's a hard thing to crack into.
Yeah,
You have to have thick skin. It's also a great scene when his father gets killed by the gorilla.
Oh, man.
He's like, when you're working at the steel mill and then, you get attacked by a gorilla. Like there's a lot of misdirects and shit. It's so good. And also the part when JV Smoove is doing the voiceover and he's narrating himself with the dialogue. So it's like he's narrating his own dialogue. So you hear it twice over and over and over when he's going to the farm.
So good. I'm glad these things, materialized.
Yeah.
And, also, the chemistry that he had with working on this, with these actors and everybody involved.
Yeah.
What a nice person. I'm so excited he's still writing, working on the Netflix show.
Thank you so much for listening.
The Upshaws.
We also do a comedy, exactly. I mean, we wish we could do comedy like the Chris Rock show. But
For good days.
Yeah. So give us a follow at Bobo Touch. We have a web series. We're actually finished writing our feature that we're trying to do soon. So we're just doing the final touches on that. Even if we make it on our iPhones for no money, we're doing it. Yeah. Right, Bon?
You gotta stay creative.
Yes. Bye.
Have a great night.